của tập đoàn Royal Palms Company sẽ mang đến cho chúng ta một cái dự án có vị trí đắc địa nhất ở Miami, Florida. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Andres Valdivieso.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very glad and I'm very honored to be here today. Good afternoon to all of you. Like she said, my name is Andres Valdivieso, and I've been with Royal Palm Companies, which is the developer, for more than 7 years. And part of my job description is that I've been managing the capital raising arm of the company for this past 7 years, being the EB5 practice, one of these particular ones. So today I want to talk to you about the legacy project as a building, as a whole, as a unique opportunity and a unique building in a place full of developments, but where there's only one of a kind legacy. And that's why, at the end, we'll support, everything that has to do, not only with the EB5 investor, but also, with regular capital raise as well. The track record of the developer, it's been for more than 40 years. We have dealt with institutional partners on the equity, on the initial equity side, and we have also dealt with partners on the leverage side. And that's very important, when you're picking a project that is going to support or is going to leverage an EB5 petition. So to start, the project legacy, it's both. It's a condominium, but it's also a hotel. So it has a hospitality component, and it's not so normal to find a project like this. You're going to have 219 hotel units, and you're going to have 310 residential units that have been meticulously picked in terms of sizes, what we want to put in every unit, so we can have not only a domestic demand, but also an international demand, which once again, ultimately will be, will measure the success of the actual building. The building is located in the Miami World Center, which is one of the biggest mixed-use developments in the country. It has a little bit of everything between shopping, dining, entertainment, and gatherings. This is more than 28 acres that are going to be located in downtown Miami, in the middle of it all, between museums, 10 minutes away from Miami Beach, 10 minutes away from the Miami International Airport, 7 minutes away from the financial district. So once again, it's also about, we go back to basics, which is location, location, location. The project is also measured by, the location that it has. It's not the same for me to have this type of product in in a state, up north, than having it, below the Sunbelt of the United States, where there is domestic and international demand as well. There's 4 main reasons on why is legacy a unique type of product. And that is, the first one, it's the one and only building that it has a rooftop component on the 46th floor. This is almost 700 feet from the ground, that has a Singapore-style pool with a glass bottom, and that also has an atrium. This atrium, since we are in the middle of it all, between business, entertainment, dining, it's also going to be very unique. It's going to be a very unique venue. That means that we have actually taken advantage, and I'm going to show you a couple of renderings, where when it's hot outside, we can actually use the internal part of the actual deck. And again, when it's cool at night, we can also use the outdoor part. So it's going to be open to the public, and it also is going to be, reserved for private events that, again, could be from the financial industry, could be from the entertainment industry, and that also, makes it very unique. Second, the International Business Lounge. Miami is not longer known only because of the, shopping and because of the beaches. It's also about financial. Right now, I will say that more than 70% of companies are moving their headquarters to the east side of the United States, and more, particularly into Miami. The reason being taxes, proximity with Latin America. So it's not only about, again, vacation. It also became the second largest financial hub in the US after Wall Street. And that also, basically calls for the demand of spaces. There are, that feature different type of, I would say, amenities And the International Business Lounge that we're going to have is going to be one of those. Number 3, a health center. And, there's a couple of slides, I think that's on the presentation that you guys have there, that it says that health is the new wealth. So we're introducing a concept that it's called blue zones. And for those who don't know, I'm going to give you a 30-second speech on what the blue zones are. Blue zones is pretty much, a trend that got started by National Geographic a couple of years ago, because they were studying in which places of the world was the people were living the most, what we call centennials. And they started, basically studying what was it? Was it the food? Was it the nutrients? Was it the exposure to the sun? Things like that. So they started grabbing every single little thing that made, the human body last longer. And they call it, again, the blue zones. So right now we have one of the biggest players in this industry called Adventus. They're going to be one of our main tenants in the retail space that the building is going to have, and I'm going to talk more about it in a minute. That's also, one of the reasons why, or one of those 4 reasons why Legacy is such a unique product. And then 4th, last but not least, we created something called the micro-lux units, and we actually trademarked the word micro-lux, because around the world, and even, most, I would say that the concept of micro units is very well received in cities like New York, or I would say throughout Asia as well. But there's no component of luxury to it. It's usually just dynamic spaces, small. They try to take advantage of every single square meter. But in our case, we also made it very unique in terms of luxury. So that's the 4th reason why Legacy it's one of a kind product. Now, we also want to talk about the building itself, and that is, we try and we have succeeded since 1978 changing skylines in the city of Miami. Our architectural designs, if you take a look at what we do, they're also very unique. They have defined and elegant lines, and it's something that it also causes, there's a trend also in terms of architecture that moves along, with everything that we do. Now, this is something very interesting, and that is, look for a second, all the revenue generators that the building has. That's also one of the reasons why it's one of a kind. The retail, the hotel operations, everything in between, it's going to basically create more profit at the end. And is one of the exit strategies for those EB5 investors that are going to be part of what we do. As you see, we try to get away from the Miami feeling so we can make it more cosmopolitan and more very unique. So we go, the lighting is different. The lobby is going to be very elegant. We're going to use, or we have used, interior design teams that are very unique in what they do, the textures that they pick, and all of that, in order to make it one of a kind. That's a little bit of how the health and wellness area is going to look like. So the idea is, how do we preserve the human body as much as possible? This is part of the micro-lux units. So if you take a look, we not only took advantage of every single square meter, but we made it a full residence. What this means is that the day of tomorrow, if those clients who actually purchase units into the building, they're going to be able to actually get a mortgage, because it's not considered a hotel room. It's considered a full residency. It has washer and dryer. It has a bathroom separate from the bedroom. So all those type of things, once again, they support why the building has sold out, to this extent, and why it's so different. This is just a little bit of a track record of the success that the building has had so far. Again, we are in major media outlets, and we haven't even gone vertical. So this is something that I want to also mention, and that is that the building got sold out in 9 months during the pandemic in 2021. Why? Because all the things that I just explained to you, the uniqueness of the size of the units, what we're going to have in terms of the hotel component, the retail component, and again, we also have the fact that right now 70% of my retail space is already rented to this to the company Adventus, the one that I told you that is going to manage the blue zones and all the wellness part. Then the 219 units are going to be managed by Accor, which is the second largest hotel brand in the world. They are the ones who manage the Swiss hotels. And under the Morgan's brand, they're going to be managing the 219 units. Also, the residential units, and this is why also got sold so fast, they can either be rented through an Airbnb concept or they can also be part of the hotel operation. It's up to the client. So that is also that created a lot of versatility, with the international market, because not all the buyers are final users. We also have investors on that side. And that is something that made it very unique. Like I was saying, we were able to pre-sell all of our units in a time record of 9 months during the pandemic. We didn't have the time to actually build a full sales center. We were only able to build a small sales office with a scale model and a vignette or how the kitchen's going to look like, because it got sold super fast. To the extent that we were able to secure financing, in time record as well. We were one of the few projects that actually presented 100% pre-sales before actually getting the leverage in order to build. So that is something that is very unique as well that you don't see in a regular project in the US. Now the developer, like I said, the experience and the track record has been there, for more than 40 years. And I always try to say this phrase: you cannot Google the word experience. You need to actually live it. And this particular developer has been in the business of real estate, developing real estate for more than 2 decades. Since it's actually a second generation company, we have more than $3.5 billion in terms of our portfolio. We have built more than 50 projects throughout South Florida. It's close to 6,000 units. And it also makes it one of the biggest developers in South Florida that have actually gotten I would say the 2 largest loans in Florida have been requested by RPC, and the first one has been, repaid in full on the first project, which is the Paramount Miami World Center, which was actually the first project where we did an EB5 practice. It's a funny story because we wanted to do only about $20 million raise. And because of the location of the building and I will say the good relationship that we had with the regional center that we were working with, we were able to actually expand by doing 200 visa spots and raising $100 million. We became the biggest EB5 practice in South Florida at that time. As you see, we have a good track record. If you can go back for a second. We already have a track record in terms of EB5 as well. We have a couple of I-526 that are already in. The I-829 request are also, like around 40, and we already actually returned back capital to our investors like in about 30 spots so far. So this is also something very interesting because we are creating also a track record on giving the money back to the investors. We are also the creators of our own brand of condominiums. This is called Paramount. The first one that we finished was Paramount Bay, and a good marker, to see how experienced we are is that building got finished in the middle of the crisis back in 2008. It shows the strongness of the developer. It shows, how good we are, with what we do. That is a building that right now, almost, I would say, almost 20 years later, it's actually selling for twice the price of everything else in the area, and it's renting twice as fast. So that also means that we know how to build, projects that actually hold value and that create appreciation over time. The second one is called Paramount Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's located in Las Olas Boulevard. It's a smaller product. And then last but not least, the Paramount Miami World Center, which is the one that I told you where we did the 200 visa spots, $100 million raise for EB5. In that particular project, we have buyers from more than 58 different nationalities. The average price of every unit was $1.2 million. And in terms of the EB5, we had 29 countries that were part of the practice. That also shows that, again, internationally, we were very well known, for having a large practice of EB5. This is, just a little bit of, how the rendering looks like, in terms of like at the bottom is where we're going to have the retail spaces. That's where we're going to hold the Adventist tenant. Then you have the 219 hotel units, and then the 310 residential units. This is just a fact sheet of the building. Again, $529 million. The capital contribution, it's $800,000. The fees are, located right there, interest rate, and just, some facts about the building, which is going to be the hotel brand that is going to manage the building, so you can have more specs on the building itself. Now, this is something very interesting because the job creation percentage or quantity, because of the building where it's located geographically, and again, throughout the studies that we have, actually have in place, we actually measured that, we could create about 56 jobs per every visa spot. So we could say that we have 5 times more what it is requested by immigration when you're requesting an EB5. Also is the amount of capital that is coming into the project through EB5. So that's something also that is very interesting because the risk is very mitigated. We have actually other funds that are part of the capital stack of the project. We have Royal Palm has actually skin in the game. Actually, Mr. Kotze, which is the CEO of the company, has a personal guarantee in the project as well. And then, we have also the part of the leverage. This is also something that is very interesting, and that is that between the condo sales and the retail space, once we actually start not only building, but once we are stabilizing the building and we're out for sale, we're going to be able to close on the units, which, by the way, those 310 units have already a 45% deposit in, and the other 50% is going to be requested at closing. 85% of those contracts are going to be cash transactions because they are from people, for example, in South America that are looking to safeguard capital in the U.S. So they already know that interest rates are going up, so they're not going to go for a mortgage. They want to close cash, and that's where we're going to see that we're going to be able to close those units, and that's where part of it will be for the repayment of the loan, and then also with the sale of the stabilized retail spaces. If you take a look after that, in terms of profit, also we're going to be able to pay pretty much the $99 million that are coming in through the EB5 capital. We're going to be able to pay it just right after that. Next one, please. Something that is very interesting as well is the partners, the companies that we have that are part of the EB5. Developer, again, Royal Palm Companies, more than 40 years of experience. Then in terms of our legal counsel, we're using Saul, Ewing, Arnstein, and Lear for everything that has to do with the documentation that the investor will sign. The economic study was done by Baker Tilly, one of the main companies in the U.S., in charge of doing this type of studies. Our escrow agent is Signature Bank, located in New York. We use as our administrator and auditor JTC Americas, but they have more than 20 years experience. They manage more than 450 projects, and they manage more than $20 billion in the U.S. And we also work with our regional center, Greystone. Now, in terms of the experience of the developer, we also have some very interesting facts, and that is that, for example, 100% of the units are sold, all of them with 45% deposit. So it's a fully capitalized building. Second, 70% of my retail space is already rented, and the time period of those contracts, it's 10 years in time once the building is ready. Then you also have, pretty much, the strongest of, not only the developer experience, but also, in terms of that we have experience with the EB5, and we also have, the experience of doing this over time. We have a denial guarantee. We also have a repayment guarantee. So we have also a private equity fund that is backing up the EB5 capital. So if something goes wrong, we actually have a fund that can guarantee the EB5 capital that is coming into the project. Again, this is a little bit about the experience that we have not only on EB5, but also, in terms of the project itself. Like I said, 56 jobs, per every visa spot. And then this is just a little bit about the market. This is why I was telling you that Miami is not longer just a vacation destination. It's about, businesses as well. And this shows a little bit of just stats on Miami and on Florida. It shows, the growth that we have. It's close to 1,000 people a day that are moving to Florida. And it's not only because of the international clientele. It's also a domestic move because of taxes, because of weather, because COVID basically was a great teacher by letting us know that you can work remotely. So if you can pay less taxes, have a better weather, being close to Latin America, and basically moving to Florida, then everything made sense. And a product like this allows you to be an investor or, again, a final user or a second home buyer, if that's, what you wish. It's also about, it became, it's like an international city. So again, it's not only about the movement because of taxes or because of the weather, but it also because, again, all the sports venues that we have, all the teams that are a part, right now with different sports. It also has, next one, please. The growth itself, the pace of appreciation as well because of the demand that we have. It's also creating very interesting concept right now in the building. I'll give you an example. A client who actually bought a legacy, an apartment, right now is looking between a 15 to 18 appreciation. And the units, again, they're not even closed as we speak. So that's something that also holds value. And again, just, shows a couple of stats, like I'll give you an example as well. The building is located a block away from the high-speed train that right now takes you from downtown Miami to West Palm Beach in 36 minutes. It's already on schedule to go all the way up to Orlando and to Tampa in about a year and a half from now. It's going to take you about 2 hours. So again, no traffic. You can be sitting down in a first-class seat, internet, Wi-Fi, cocktails, everything in between. And the main station is literally across from us. And again, just more stats about, what we have in Florida right now, why it supports, the location that we have and the project that we have that is going to be collateralizing the EB5. So just, again, some more stats about Florida, about where we are, how strong the market is right now. And that's pretty much the presentation. So again, it's about a project that is fully capitalized, a project that is already under construction. At the beginning, I know that they were passing the video of the concrete pouring of the building. We had more than 415 trucks pouring concrete for more than 24 hours. More than 400 people were part of the actual concrete pour. So after that, and that's the stage that we're about to begin, it's going vertical. After that, expect 24 to 28 months for the first stage, and then the building should be delivered, I would say, second or third quarter of 2025. That's a little bit of the video. So just as a final comment, we were able to basically put together concepts that are, once again, very unique, which is leisure, business, health, and entertainment under one roof. And in this particular moment, with this partnership with Kornova, this is going to be very interesting because this market, it's a market that has, full potential. And the project that we have, it's also, again, a very good project to have in order to collateralize an EB5 practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andres, for your very impressive presentation. Xin cảm ơn ông Andres với những chia sẻ rất là chi tiết về dự án Legacy Tower từ Miami, Florida. Thưa các anh chị, để thay đổi không khí thì dự án của hội thảo của chúng ta sẽ nghỉ giải lao trong vòng 10 phút. Bên ngoài Kornova có chuẩn bị thức uống và bánh. Xin mời các anh chị thưởng thức và sẽ quay trở lại trong vòng 10 phút ạ.